So let's talk about, there are assertions that Iran may be behind these drones. The Pentagon denies that. We just heard from John Kirby. They were saying there's no evidence of foreign-based involvement. Who do you think is responsible? What do you think is behind these drones?
Unfortunately, I'm only as good as the information that I've read, the briefings that I've attended. We did have a long briefing yesterday at the request of myself and a handful of other legislators that the governor organized with both state and federal authorities that included the colonel of the New Jersey State Police, representatives from the New Jersey Office of Homeland Security and Preparedness, and the United States Department of Homeland Security. And what came out of that meeting is the same thing. They doubled down on their narrative that there's no threat, but then they can't explain why. To the contrary, what they go through is a litany of things that they claim that they don't know. They know that they can't track them. They know that they don't emit a signal. They know that they can't see them when they turn their lights out. They know that they vary in size from a foot or so in circumference to as much as 10 feet. The colonel indicated that they had sent New Jersey State Police helicopters to try to intercept them on a couple of occasions. And when they approach them, they simply go dark and disappear. They also indicated that they don't know where they come from. They don't know where they go to. All of those seem like interesting or odd sort of responses to, as Admiral Kirby said, if they're not drones and they seem to be consistent with manned aircraft, then, whose manned aircraft are they? I said from the beginning that I think it's a balancing of answers versus action. If these are American assets, if these are American drones or American manned aircraft, then I think the federal government owes the American people explanations and answers, and we certainly didn't get those yesterday. We didn't get them now. And if they're not ours, then they owe us action. There are obligations to protect and preserve the common defense. So I still think there are a lot of questions that remain unanswered and a lot of things that need to be done. But I don't know that Admiral Kirby did much to help the cause a few minutes ago.
Well, and something that you mentioned there, the fact there are so many unanswered questions. But officials are saying, hey, there's no danger to the public. How can we be sure of that?
Well, I think what came out of the meeting yesterday was I think there's a distinction between saying there's no danger to the public and we don't know that there's a danger to the public. And I think if you don't know where they're coming, you don't know where they're going to, you don't know if they carry a payload or are capable of carrying a payload, if they go dark and you can't see them when you approach them. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's no threat. To me, it just means that we don't know whether there is or what it might be. But what we did learn yesterday, and I said this yesterday, and I'm going to say it again today. I think responsibility for answering the questions or taking action rests solely at the feet of the Biden administration. The federal government controls the skies. The federal government regulates the skies. It is their responsibility. It's their responsibility to do a better job of answering local law enforcement's questions. It's their job to answer journalists' questions, and we didn't get a lot of those a few minutes ago. And I think it's their job to provide for our safety, and I don't see them doing that either. It's rather simple to be dismissive and tell folks that there's nothing here to see, but quite